From the studios of Boise State Public Radio News, I'm Samantha Wright, filling in for Jim Gaudette. This is Idaho Matters. The city of Weiser is hoping to transform parkland to create a space that brings more people together. And they're doing it thanks to the Community Project. It's the brainchild of the Blue Cross of Idaho Foundation for Health. Joining us now are Weiser Mayor Randy Hibberd and Courtney Frost, Senior Program Officer at the Foundation for Health. So, Courtney, what is the Community Project? What does it do?
Well, I'll give you some history about the community project because it's a little bit different than other grants that we've seen throughout the state. So, several years ago, the Blue Cross of Idaho Foundation for Health, saw a division in communities we were working with, not only within our grants, but in the state and in the nation. Neighbors weren't seeing each other as neighbors, and we definitely saw impacts on community. Um, at the same time we were seeing this, we are now seeing international data about the negative impacts of loneliness and isolation. Obviously, that grew throughout the pandemic. Um, and we're seeing more and more from our city leaders that we work with that, man, the community pride is down, community morale is down, and we really seek to meet communities where we need us. And so, from what the mayors were telling us statewide, what we're seeing in our work, and what we're seeing throughout the state, nation, and world, we decided to create the Community Project Grant. Um, and the grant is twofold. We fund an outside project that can unite the community, get community excited, get really a sense of belonging. It'll be an outdoor space that will be created with input from the entire community. So that's really exciting, getting grant funding for that. But also, it's paired with technical assistance to help communities fine tune their communications channels to make sure that folks are understanding their each other, and also conduct thorough community engagement, learning who's heard, who's not being heard, and really making sure that there is a sense of belonging in communities. And we hope that has a long-lasting impact.
Courtney, two cities are getting a grant this year. I think it's Dayton and Weiser.
Mhm.
Why Weiser?
So we have actually done the community project, I believe, for 3 years, and it's one of the more popular requests for proposals that we have at the foundation. We get several communities applying for this grant. Weiser stood out because of the way the community and the municipality and mayor described wanting to make sure that we all saw each other as community members. Weiser, and Mayor, please correct me if I'm wrong, but
You're
Weiser has a
fine.
lot of newcomers, and Mayor really wanted to make sure that people who have grown up and lived in Weiser their entire lives, and newcomers, all felt like they belonged in that community. And for that reason, we thought, man, this is a mission match, and we have the same shared values, and we're excited to work with Weiser.
So, Mayor Hibbert, is it true? I think I read this that this idea, your idea, actually began with Weiser High School students. Is that right?
Yes, back in, I think it was 2020 or 21, we started meeting with the leadership of the high school students and talking about what they wanted to see in city governments. And they came up with several ideas, including a walkway from the high school to one of our parks where the football games are played, baseball games are played. There wasn't a safe route to get there by foot. Also, they were envisioning turning one of the parks into kind of an event center, outdoor event center, and even came up with drawings of what they wanted to see. And so some of those things we've implemented. Otherwise, we got a grant to do most of the sidewalk. And we'll be going back out to try and get a grant to finish that up. It's about a mile between the two. And then we also changed the band shell in the park so that it was more user friendly. And so this is part of an extension of that. And so, yes, a lot of these ideas started with high school students.
And Mayor Courtney is talking a lot about sense of community, sense of place, especially after the pandemic. Is this something you're feeling in Weiser? You're trying to get the community to be more whole, more cohesive?
Right. Weiser tends to be kind of an older population. It attracts retirees. And so the last few years, we've seen a large influx of people coming into Weiser. Weiser itself hasn't grown very much, but there's a lot of newcomers that have only been here a few years. And some get engaged right away with things and others don't. It used to be that you could go down the street, and if you caught somebody's eye, it didn't matter if you knew them or not. You'd wave and they'd wave back. And now about half or three-quarters of the time, you just get stared at. And
Mm.
that's not the sense of community that we're used to here. So we want to engage people. We don't want people to feel like they're left out. Weiser is something special, and so we want to extend that to everybody.
Courtney, talk some more about this idea of community and being part of a community when it comes to health. I mean,
Yeah.
Blue Cross is a health insurance company, and I think we get this idea that when an insurance company is going to help with prevention or something, it's just going to be smoking cessation, or something like that. And this
Yeah.
is a different approach over the past few years.
Mhm. Yeah, great question. I would say about 4 years ago, the foundation has really leaned into making sure that we address the root causes that impact health as a holistic form, whether that's where you eat, learn, work, play, pray, what is impacting your health. Over the past couple of years, we're seeing again the impacts physically, emotionally, mentally, impacts of loneliness, isolation, and a lack of belonging. So that's where we see us as the foundation leaning into how can we help our communities at a really small level try to lean into seeing each other as community members to uplift one another, to bring community pride and a sense of belonging.
Mayor, tell me a little bit more about how the money is going to be used. How much money is it, by the way?
85,000, and how exactly it will be used will be determined a lot by the public.
Ooh.
Blue Cross Foundation will be sponsoring and mentoring us on how to engage the community, not only the ones who are typically engaged, but getting down and reaching those who typically aren't. And we're looking forward to help in getting that done and looking forward to being able to use that model for projects in the future. So to answer your question, we want to engage the public on what they want to see and what they think will work in helping bring the community together.
And it's about community space in some way, right?
Correct. Correct. What has been happening is a shift in how people get together. In the past, they got together by going to church, by service clubs, by bowling leagues, by baseball teams, and that's what created the sense of community. Those things have tended to die out, not die out, but there isn't as much interest in them as there has been in the past. And instead, what we're seeing is more events in the park. The Fiddle Festival is using it more. We have a Rock the Park in the park. The Catholic Church does an event there every year. Angel Wings, which is a cancer assistance program, has their annual event there each year. And so what we're wanting to do is capitalize on that trend and make the parks even more user-friendly so that people use it as a gathering place and where they can get together and socialize and bring back that sense of community.
Mayor, I really like this idea that you're paying attention to where people are gathering now, where people are finding that sense of community, and then trying to make it, in this case, the parks, the best that you can, and that you're talking to the community to say what would you want to see there, what would make it so you would want to come and do events or be at events in the parks. That's really paying attention to your community.
Well, I've always said that I'm not the best idea person in the world, and that it takes all of us to bring out the best. And in listening to all the ideas, you come up with the best solutions.
True, very true. Do you think this money is going to help? Will this make a change in people's lives when you get this going?
I think so. Number one, if we can take and get people engaged, that will make a huge difference in the life of this community. Courtney brought up the factors that affect community health, and this is why they're doing it, but they're called the social determinants of health. And we've got a lot of good going on in other areas, trying to take care of food shortages and other needs. But the social aspect is something that we really needed help on. And so we're really appreciative of the Blue Cross Foundation helping out with this. We can't say enough about it.
One more thing. I love the idea of this. I think this is great. What kind of a timeline are you looking at?
Well, the community engagement part will last about 6 months. So that's about till the end of the year. At that time, we'll start drawing up plans and then implementing it. So I would imagine that by this time next year, we're in the middle of implementing those plans and bringing everything to fruition.
Gotcha. Courtney, what's the next step with the foundation and Weiser?
Yeah. So over the next 6 months, we are going to be working with a technical assistance expert, a company called Reynolds and Myers, and they will be working with the city of Weiser to engage the community, provide trainings, tools, templates for the community and for the municipality to use not only for this grant, but hopefully other municipality-driven activities to engage a wide variety of community members. We'll get some feedback about what community members would like. We're going to spend some time in Weiser, which I absolutely love doing. Really posting it up, making sure going to where people are at, seeing what they want. And then once we have all the feedback, giving it to mayor and the council, and they will be implementing what the community is wanting. And hopefully in 2025, we see an awesome upgrade or addition to what's going on in Weiser.
Wow. We have been speaking with Weiser Mayor Randy Hibberd and Courtney Frost. She's the Senior Program Officer at the Blue Cross of Idaho Foundation for Health about the community project. Thank you both for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Idaho Matters. Boise State Public Radio and Idaho Matters are members of the NPR network. It's an independent coalition of public media podcasters. You can find more shows in the network wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Samantha Wright. We'll see you tomorrow.
I'm Rachel Martin. You probably know how interview podcasts with famous people usually go. There's a host, a guest, and a light Q&A. But on Wildcard, we have ripped up the typical script. It's a new podcast from NPR where I invite actors, artists, and comedians to play a game using a special deck of cards to talk about some of life's biggest questions. Listen to Wildcard wherever you get your podcasts, only from NPR.